it's Erin from Next Evolution Athletics. Today's yoga sequence, we're going to be focusing on the hip flexors. So hip flexors are muscles that will attach to your pelvis, your abs, and all the way into the front of your quads. And it tends to get really, really tight because we sit a lot, so it really shortens. So as soon as you go to extend it, they can get really tight. The other thing that a lot of people do is if you're doing a lot of core work, especially a lot of sit-ups, you actually end up using your hip flexors to move instead of actually using your core. So those can get really, really tight, just in general movement, running, sitting, so that can all work. So again, as a reminder, go back and do the flow video first, and then come and do this one here. So we're going to actually meet in downward dog, so that's where you end your flow. So again, downward dog is not necessarily about having your heels all the way to the ground. It's about having a nice flat back. So I want to keep a little bit of a micro bend into the knee. Okay? So this time you are going to take your left foot and rise it all the way up to the sky, keeping the shoulders where they are. You're going to bend your knee at 90 degrees, and then you're going to start opening that hip up. So ideally, eventually you want to get to a point where your hips stack on top of each other, keeping the back leg nice and strong. You can have a micro bend in there, or you can actually extend it fully. So this starts really opening and releasing those hip flexors. Okay, hold here for 3 big breaths. And then when you're done, you're going to bring your hips back to center or parallel to the mat, keeping that leg lifted, bringing the knee towards the chest and stepping down and through. Once you're down and through, you're going to be a little bit more buoyant on your back. So I always find to keep some good stability, keeping the heel really, really high is the best way to do it. And you're going to just be able to stable yourself. Now, if this isn't easy for you, you can come up to your knee and then come all the way up to what we call our crescent lunge. So crescent lunge is the front knee is bent, knee is over ankle, back leg is nice and strong. So really engaging, keeping that heel high if you feel like you're losing balance, keeping the core nice and tucked in tight. And inhale to lift those arms, dropping them away from the shoulders, okay? You're going to hold here for a couple of breaths, really opening up that hip flexor on the opposite side. Now, option here is you can stay here if this is enough for you, or if you want to feel like you're going to get a little deeper in the stretch, you can just start lifting the fingertips back, lifting the chest up to the sky, so you get a deeper stretch. Again, keeping that back leg super high. Going into our movement, as you exhale, you're going to bring the knee all the way down, not touching the ground. Inhale, drive through this heel, squeeze this glute, come all the way up. Keep those arms up. Exhale to release, lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower and hold. 3, 2, 1. Inhale to rise. Now this time you're straightening that back leg nice and straight, bringing the arms down and around and squeezing the scapula to really open the chest up. Again, you're releasing a lot in that hip flexor, building strength in your quad. Inhale to come back to what we call crescent lunge. Back knee is bent, arms is up. Inhale, straighten that leg. Body comes forward, arms swoop down, squeeze that scapula, lift that chest up. One last time, swoop that arms back down, bend that back leg. Inhale, straighten that leg, body weight comes forward, arms come down and back, nice big squeeze through here. Excellent. Bringing the hands to heart center. I actually like pushing on the tippy pads of the fingers instead of bringing the wrists together. Just better range of motion. That way you can roll your shoulders back, and then placing the thumbs right into the bottom, kind of top of that bottom of the rib cage. It's your sternum, so it's a soft spot. Okay, then roll your shoulders back, and then twisting the body towards that bent leg. Okay, so we're getting a little movement through here. So this is going to start releasing your IT band. You can work some of the glutes here, keeping that back leg really nice and strong. Okay, exhale to come to center, and then we're going to move into a warrior 2 movement. Okay, so you're going to windmill the arms up, back leg pivots, planted into warrior 2. I'm just going to change directions so you can see me. Okay, so front leg is pointed forward, back leg is parallel to the shoulders of the mat, knee is over top of the ankle. Inhale, your arms should be parallel to the ground. Okay, body is forward. You're looking towards that middle finger. Okay, drop the shoulders away from the ears and then squeeze the scapula. Okay, holding here. Nice big breaths. Flipping both palms up. As you inhale, you're going to bring them hands up together overhead as you straighten that front leg out. Exhale back down to your warrior two. Inhale, rise those arms, straighten that front leg. Exhale, lower, back to your warrior two. All right, one last time. Inhale up. Exhale to release, back down. Now flipping just the front palm. As you inhale, you're going to rise that front palm up, and that back palm is now going to touch that back leg. Okay, now here's where you're starting to get more of a release through here. Lifting the chest up as high as you can and bending forward, or bending backward, I'm sorry. So you should start feeling a little bit of a release through that hip flexor. Keeping that front knee bent, making sure the knee is over top of the ankle. Okay, exhale back down to your warrior two. This time you're going to straighten that front leg, okay? And I do kind of this hip check movement where my hip comes back, okay? Pulling that front fingertips forward, and then you're placing it down onto the shin. Now typical in triangle, you would just place your arm up, but this time I'm actually going to get you to place the left hand on the left hip, and you're going to roll that shoulder open so that you're more straight, okay? So option one to stay here. Option two, if you feel like you aren't stacked, shoulder on top of shoulder, you can raise that arm up. For others, just keeping your hand on your hip so you're really getting a nice movement and a nice stack, and then you're also releasing some of that hip flexor and getting into the adductor. Okay? Exhale, you're going to bend that knee, come back to warrior two, and then you're going to windmill the hands all the way down and step back to your downward dog. So we've got one more side to go. Okay, so this time, right leg comes all the way up. Okay, bending the knee at 90 degrees, and then opening that hip all the way up so you're nice and stacked. Okay, breathe through here, 3 big breaths. You're really releasing the hip flexor. Try to not necessarily engage the glute. You're really wanting to stretch that out. Inhale, you're going to bring the hips again back parallel to the ground, keeping the knee lifted away. You're going to bring it towards the chest and plant. Okay? Then when you're stable, planting that foot onto the ground, lifting yourself up back to that crescent lunge. Okay? So again, this time we're hitting the opposite side. So front knee is over ankle. Okay? Hands are up. Drop the shoulders away from the ear. Back leg is nice and strong. Again, if you have problems with balance, the higher the heel, I find you get more balance. Okay? Into our movement. As you exhale, bringing the knee down towards the ground. Inhale. This time you're driving through this heel and squeezing that back glute all the way up. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale, lower. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Inhale to rise. As you rise, you're straightening that back leg, bringing the body weight forward, taking those arms back, down and around, and squeeze the scapula together. Inhale, swoop those arms, bend that back leg, back to crescent lunge. Exhale, forward, swoop, squeeze the scapula. Inhale, swoop, back, back leg. Perfect. Again, hands heart to heart center, pressing on the tippy pads, bringing the thumbs into the sternum, bringing the body weight forward, and giving a nice little twist. So inhale to rise, exhale to twist. Okay, so option to get nice and twisted, you can hook and come into a full twist, or stay where you are, where you're just lifted and you're twist. Again, that back leg is nice and solid. Inhale back to center, and you're going to rotate that back foot. So now it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. Your front foot is still pointing forward, but now you should be ready to get into your warrior two. So again, warrior two, knee is stacked over ankle. Okay, flipping both palms up. As you inhale, you're bringing the hands up overhead, straightening that bent knee from the front. Exhale back down to your warrior two. Inhale up. Exhale to lower. One last time. Inhale up. And exhale to warrior. This time you're just going to flip the front palm, keeping the back palm. Now you're lifting all the way up. Bring those fingertips high, 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 and the back hand is touching the back leg. Okay? Nice big breaths through here. This is a great chest opener. It's a great oblique opener, lats, gets into your triceps, pretty much anything on that side body. Plus it is nicely opening up those hip flexors on that side. Okay, nice big breath through here. All right, as you exhale, you're going to come back to warrior two, straightening that front leg. And again, that little hip check movement, I don't know what it's really called. Bringing the body forward, okay? Hand again comes down to the knee, to the shin, the knee, or the quad, okay? That opposite hand is now touching, so this would be your right hand, and then you're rotating, okay? Arm comes up if you choose, or keep your hand here to rotate, because you really want to get into the obliques and into that side. A lot of times if you have really tight obliques, they could be compensating again because you might have really super tight hip flexors. Okay, nice big breaths through here. Okay, to get out, you're going to bend that front knee and pivot up. Okay, moving to the floor, you're actually going to grab your yoga blocks. And again, if you don't have yoga blocks, books work great. I know I've said mason jars you could use, peanut butter, anything that way, so it's more for stability. So I'm just going to come to the side so you can see me front and back. So you're taking the left foot forward. Again, knee is going to stack over top of the ankle, and that back is more knee underneath the hip. Okay, so we're going to go into a hip flexor stretch. So this one's really going to stretch out the right hip flexor. Okay, so the option for your blocks is more for stability, but if you don't need them in this pose, you don't have to have them. Okay, so you're going to just inch that back knee a little bit far behind. If you do suffer from knee pain, sometimes a rolled up towel works great, or you can flip your mat over so you've got a little bit extra sponge. Okay, so as you inhale, you're rising the chest, bringing those arms up, and then we're going to do a little bit more of a back bend. So the biggest thing with here is you're actually going to flex that right glute, so you get right into that hip flexor. So this could be a bit of a quad stretch for you, it could be a low back stretch for you. Okay, ideally you want those hands high, 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 and flexing that right glute. Okay, as you exhale, you're going to bring hands down to the block. Shifting the hips back, you're going to straighten that right leg. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a hamstring, because I always find you can never do enough hamstring. So having the toes look back at you, chest is lifted, and then you're bringing the chest towards the knee, not rounding the back. So keeping your back nice and flat, and just bringing the chest towards the knee. Okay, hold here for 3 breaths, and then inhale again. You're going to walk those blocks forward, stacking that knee over top of the ankle. Okay, again, walk the blocks back if you choose for stability, or you can rise those hands up and squeeze that glute. So nice big stretch and squeeze through here. Okay, hold for 3 breaths. Again, if you're rising your arms up, dropping them away from your ears, really engaging the back. Okay. Exhale, hands back down to the block, walking them forward, straightening that front leg. Sorry, walking your blocks back, I apologize. Having the toes look back towards you gets you into the hamstring, and then lift the chest, nice flat back, bringing the chest towards the knee. Okay, one last time on each side, and then we'll switch to the other side. Okay, walking forward, knee over ankle, lift. Again, option, you can just have your hand on your knee if you choose. You can have your hands on the blocks, or for a deeper stretch, hands up, and then you can do a little tiny bit of a back bend. Again, always engaging that right glute really gets into that hip flexor. Okay, and exhale back, walk block back, straighten that front left leg, toes back at you, chest is lifted, and then bringing the chest towards the knees. 3 big breaths through here. All right, walk those blocks back. You're going to swing this left leg towards the right, and we're just going to switch the sides. So this time now, your right leg is forward, your left leg is back. Again, stacking that knee over top of that ankle, and then we're going to get into this hip flexor here. So again, your option is your blocks, your knee, your arms can be up. Again, if your arms are up, dropping them away from the shoulders. Okay, you can do a little tiny bit of a back bend if you need it, but this time we're engaging that left glute. Okay, that way you can really get into the hip flexor and it's stabilizing your core. Okay, nice and lifted. 2 more breaths. And then exhale, hands down to those blocks, walk forward, straighten that leg, and then walk back to lift the chest. Have the toes point back at you. Exhale, flat back, chest towards knee. Okay, nice big breath through here. Take a nice 3 long breaths. 2 more. Inhale, walk the blocks forward. Knee over ankle, lift up. And again, option for hands. Okay, and then squeezing that left glute, really making sure you're getting right into that hip flexor. Okay, 1 more breath. And then last time, walking back, chest is lifted, toes look back at you. Couple more breaths through here. And 1 last time forward. Sorry, we have 1 more time on the hamstring flex. 1 more breath. And then walk those blocks back, straighten that leg, chest is lifted, chest towards knee. So this is a great little stretch that you can do, especially like after running or any box jumps or step ups that you're doing, because that really gets into the hip flexors, into the hamstrings, get into the calves too. So this is a great one kind of for a lot of the lower body problems that you have. Perfect. So we're going to put our blocks just to the side for now. You're going to come down, so come to the wide edge of your mat. Knees are going to be underneath the hips, okay? So you're going to leave the left knee where it is. You're going to take your right foot and place it all the way out, okay? So you're going to have your toes facing forward, okay? The right hand is going to slide down the right leg, and then as you do that, you're kind of coming into a crescent, and then you're bringing your hand up and over. Now, once you're in this spot, squeeze that left glute. There you go. So this is what we actually call gate pose. Okay, so you're getting a nice stretch all through that left side body and really incorporating into our hip flexor. As you exhale, you're going to take that left hand, place it about a foot away from you, and then you're going to, again, stack the body weight on towards the left knee, and then you're just lifting up that right foot. So this is great for glute activation, okay, hip activation. Okay, hold, 3, 2, 1. Place the foot back down, bringing the body forward, sliding the right arm down the right leg. The left hand comes up and over that ear, nice big stretch, and squeeze the left glute. Nice big breath through here. 1 more time to the gate pose. Hand comes down, hand to hip, lift all the way up. Again, option for you. You can point the toe or you can flex the foot, but we want some glute engagement. Excellent. 1 more big breath. And then exhale 1 more time into that gate pose. This is fantastic for the hip flexor. Fantastic for the obliques, the lats. Excellent. Placing the hands to the ground, we're just going to switch sides. Okay? Make sure I am where you can see me. So this time, right knee, or right hip is over right knee. Again, completely up to you. If you want to curl the toe underneath or lay it flat, completely up to you. Left foot is out straight, toe is pointing forward. Okay? Sliding the left hand down the left leg, taking that right hand up and over. Nice big stretch through here. Okay, nice big breaths. Squeezing, this time your right glute, making sure you really get that glute activation. That's what gives you the biggest stretch through that hip flexor. Exhale, right hand, you're going to place about a foot away from you. Hand onto left hand, left hip, and then rising all the way up. Okay, and nice big squeeze here. So this is great for glute activation. Getting those glutes to fire. Exhale to lower and release, back to your gate pose. Okay, nice big breaths through here. Squeeze that glute. Really, really squeeze it. Okay, left hand, foot away. Sorry, right hand, left hand on hip. lift, hold. Okay, try to hold this for 3 breaths. That way you can really activate those glutes. Again, you can point your toe or have your toes come forward. Okay, and last time onto the gate pose. Squeeze that glute. Awesome. Alright, exhale to lower. You're going to come to what I call zigzag legs. So zigzag legs is essentially 90 degree, 90 degree. Okay, so you're placing the left foot onto essentially the top of the right knee, making sure that the right leg is engaged, so you've got a 90 degree. So that's why I call them zigzags, because it's kind of more of a zigzag. Okay, left hand is going to go behind the left hip. Okay, so this time, as you inhale, you're going to squeeze that left glute. So, well, actually squeeze both glutes, but really, really concentrate on that left glute to lift you. And then you're taking that right hand up and over. So inhale to lift, squeeze the glute, and then we'll reach that hand back. You're really going to get a good stretch through the quad, the hip flexor, even into the abs, into the obliques. Okay, hold 3, 2, 1. Exhale to release. Grab your breath. We're going to do that 3 times, so 2 more. Okay, inhale, lift, squeeze the glute. Arm comes back. Breathe, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to lower. Take a couple breaths through here. One last time on that side, and then we're going to switch sides. Okay, inhale, lift, squeeze, rise all the way. Hold. This time we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to release. Switching to the opposite side. Okay. This time right hand, right hip. Inhale, lift, raise that hand all the way back. Okay, this time you're really trying to squeeze into that left glute. And exhale to release. Right, hold. Inhale, lift. 3, 2, 1. Exhale to release. Okay, give yourself a moment to breathe. One last time. Right hand, right hip. Inhale, lift, squeeze. Really hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to release. Perfect. Bring your soles of the feet together. Okay, bring your elbows to the outside. Kind of do what counter stretch, keeping the chest nice and lifted. Perfect. Okay, swinging those legs around, we're going to go into what's called a reverse plank. Okay, so reverse plank, hands are placed towards the feet. Okay, rolling the shoulders back, bringing the legs out, straight, and then as you inhale, you're lifting the hips up, roll the shoulders back, and then you can bring your head back if you choose, or really hold, 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 nice and straight. Again, if you're shaking, that's good, your muscles are working. Okay, holding the core nice and tight. This is a good one for your forearms too. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to lower. And then you can take your hands, place them towards your feet. You can grab your ankles or your knees and round your back out. Okay. Breathe, 3, 2, 1. One more time, placing hands, fingers towards the toes. Inhale, lift the hips, roll the shoulders back, point the toes, head comes back. 3, 2, 1. Exhale to release. Hands can come down, roll that back, getting a nice counter stretch. All right. So a couple options. If you have a block, you can use a block for this one. Or, you can use a book, anything a little harder. If you don't have harder, you can also just roll up a towel for this one. This is a really great release and more of kind of a, what we call a restorative pose. So placing the soles of feet on the ground, you're going to bring your head all the way back down. Okay, so back is flat, feet are on the ground. Okay, and lift the hips up and you're placing the block. Now you've got a couple different levels here. You've got 1, 2, 3. The higher the block, the harder it is. I'm going to go with level 2, lifting the hips and placing it kind of at the small of your back, okay? So the top of your glute, okay? Resting the shoulders down. So option 1 here, you're going to get a nice stretch. This can be just, again, a nice restorative pose. But what I want you to do is just kind of bring those legs out. So you can do one at a time, or you can do both, okay? So holding this one for a minimum of 5 breaths. Again, really trying to use that belly breath, really trying to relax. This is great for low back pain too. May not feel like it in the time or moment of, but this can be a nice release kind of all through that midsection and especially through those hip flexors. Again, the option to keep one leg straight, one leg bent if you have a harder time with your hip flexors, if they're a little bit tight, that is an option for you, okay? Let's go 2 more big breaths through here. Again, for a deeper pose, you can absolutely place the feet on the ground and lift those hips all the way up, roll those shoulders for a deeper back bend, but I kind of want more of a restorative pose, okay? So lift the hips up, take your block or whatever you've got underneath back, placing the back straight against and laying down. Okay. Exhale to release. Alright, rolling to the side. You're going to come up into what we call pigeon pose. So just roll onto your belly. Okay, and then get up to your hands and knees. I'll come from the side so you can see a little bit better. So taking the left knee towards the left wrist. Okay, and then just bringing the leg into about like a 40-degree, 30-degree angle. You can go right up to a 90-degree, but just protect that knee, okay? Inching that back foot back a little bit. Now, hook your toes right underneath and lift that knee, okay? So usually in what we call the half pigeon pose, is you're on the ground, leg is flat, and you're down, okay? But this one I want actually quite active. So the first thing before you get into it, you're going to make sure that the hip, the knee, and the foot are all aligned. So look back, make sure everything's nice and aligned, then hook those toes under and lift that knee. Okay, this gets a little bit deeper into the hip flexor. And we're going to hold here for 5 breaths. So option to where you want to be. You can be up high onto the hands, you can come down onto the forearms, or you can come all the way down to the floor. Okay, you can stack your fists so your head can rest. Okay, and holding here for 5 breaths. Okay. This one's really great as well to get into your glutes and your hamstrings. Okay. 1 more breath. And then as you exhale, you're bringing the knee down, releasing that foot. Hands come towards the body. Okay. And then swinging that back leg. Okay. And then we're just going to switch sides. So this time, right knee comes towards right wrist. Swinging that leg in a little bit. Inching that foot back, and keeping the toes under, but check back. Making sure hip, knee, and ankle are nice and aligned. Lift that knee up. Again, option to stay up high, come down onto forearms, or all the way to the floor, whatever you're most comfortable with. Alright, hold here for 5 breaths. Alright, 1 last big breath. Exhale, release. And then release that down. Release the foot. You can just roll over. And then go into your breath work, into your Shavasana. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.